friends, welcome to another edition of Minimal Monday. My name is Olivier, and I welcome you in on the new Minimal Monday wrap-up for this week, wrap-up number 76. It's a little bit earlier today than usual. I took the day off today. My wife got in an accident yesterday, and don't worry, she's fine. But she got rear-ended in her truck by another pickup truck, and so today I took the day off to sort things out and get her a rental, and we got her to emergency last night to get her checked out if she had whiplash or not. Everything seems to be good, so we both took the day off today. So that's why it is 2:08 right now in the afternoon. Mountain Standard Time, and I am able to do this wrap up already, so it's a little bit earlier than usual. An amazing week this week. I have about 17 photographs to share with you. Some of them are absolutely insanely beautiful, and I'd like to start with giving away the Fav of the Day award to Deepak Ghosh. I've seen a lot of photographs of San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, but I've never seen a photograph like this before. And that's why I wanted to give it to Deepak this week, because this is such an over photographed subject that it is almost hard to come up with something new. A new approach to a classic, and Deepak did that in such an original way that, in my opinion, I didn't have another choice. To give it to him this week. An absolutely beautiful dark square with a hint of light, and that just, or a nice, I don't need, this is all post processing. This is all vision, right? And this is just a hint of the Golden Gate Bridge. You can almost make up the shape on the other side, on the dark side of the frame, for yourself. But yeah, this is absolutely a very intriguing photograph, and that's why I give it the Fav of the Day award this week. Congratulations, Deepak. This is. You must have heard me last week saying that long exposure photographs often are so sterile almost that they leave the emotion behind, and this is just the opposite. This is beautifully emotionally rendered. Awesome. Thank you. This was this photograph by Francis Gagnon was, for most of the day yesterday, was my favorite, because there's so much going on in this photograph that is both subtle and just like plain beautiful. Like, look at this foreground sand. That has to be one of the best rendered shorelines I've ever seen. Especially in black and white. Beautiful long exposure, just enough, to blur out the waves a little bit. There's still a little bit of detail in it, so that's good. I like that. And a good use of the diagonal composition too. But that foreground sand is absolutely insane. Love it, love it, love it. Beautiful, Francis. Thank you. Here's another dark one by Andy Lee. And the first few photographs that I'm sharing, those will be the dark ones. I like to group stuff together. Gorgeous abandoned house Andy found. He poured some of his long exposure expertise over top of that, and did some work in post processing, and this is what he got. Absolutely amazing. Cool, cool, cool. Great photograph, Andy. Beautiful. And this one is is very similar photograph by Chris Schofield. Again, a longer exposure, with the clouds billowing. But again, a very dark frame. But the light in this one guides you from, the what I think is a pathway on the left side, or at least it is to my eye, leading up to the trees. And it's all done, or most of it is done in post-processing to get the eye to focus where you need it to focus. And that is often something I use too. Burning areas and dodging others, or if you do that in the dark room, sometimes dodging doesn't work all too well. You can selectively bleach areas. But I mean, it's not something that hasn't been done before, right? It's a tool like any other tool, and yeah, why not use it? Beautiful photograph, Chris. Martin Rack. This was one of my favorites of the day too. Is a snowscape. It's almost summer here, but Martin dug up a beautiful lone tree, foggy, hoar-frosted tree, out of his archives probably, and decided to submit it for Minimum Monday, and I'm totally okay with that. Love this. It's funny, like people that post winter photographs in summertime and summer photographs of wintertime often, have the immediate attention of the viewer because it's something so out of the ordinary of what you normally get in your stream. So again, this is very simple tonalities, very little midtones. It's white and black, and but I mean, obviously there are midtones, but it's just the idea of for me, what needs to be gray, is midtone. But yeah, this is good. Love it. And here's kind of the opposite by DJ Demarais. I did say that the previous one was by Martin Rack, right? Yeah. This one by DJ Demarais. This is again black and white, as black and as white as it gets. A simple fence, beautiful square, very minimal. This is about the shape of the land and the sky. Two rectangles, very simple, and then the fence line that comes in from the left. Beautiful. Very, there's detail, but there's no texture detail, and that's often like a little trick that is used by the Michael Kennas and the Michael Levins to get stuff as simple as possible. Here's another great photograph by Benoit Janssen-Reynaud. Another one from his Japan series, and what I liked about this one is that it's a long exposure photograph, but it just has enough detail in the long exposure parts to suggest movement. Like, I don't know what this is, probably some fishery stuff, probably I don't know, probably it has something to do with fishing, obviously, but there's enough detail there's just enough movement in the water to blur out the motion, but not completely, and there's just enough kind of movement in the foreground, like in the snake, so to speak, of that fishery equipment or whatever it is, that net probably that is on the water, that that is, at first it looks like a sterile kind of long exposure black and white photograph, but once you look a little closer, you see the movement, and then the suggestion of movement is definitely there. So I like that a lot. Here's another one of these long exposure photographs that are executed very well. And this one is by Jamal Elias. Um, and he has started a new series, and this is photograph 2 of that series, and I believe the series is called From Afar. Um, excellent. That sign, probably for ships, obviously, is very well placed in this square. It's placed on a an interesting point, I think. Um, it's something. It's placed on a point where it questions stuff for me. It's not in the middle. That would be the obvious. The obvious rendition or the obvious solution, but it's like off to the side, and it's on the left side. So it's, for me, it's kind of it has room to breathe on the right. So it's kind of positive, and invoking positive thoughts. Definitely interesting. Great, good gradients. I mean, this is kind of the opposite of the two previous photographs, where or the photograph by Benoit and the photograph by Francis that we already featured. There's no surface details here. It's a long exposure photograph where everything is smooth, and that's an artistic preference, right? There's no good or bad in this type of photography. Absolutely, this is very well. If you look very closely, there's actually a detail in that sign. So I mean, everything is good. This one I thought was very interesting, by Chris White. Chris is a photographer that very often submits to Minimal Monday. And this is definitely a very interesting photograph. That big Z, or Z for your Americans, is definitely this almost is a search or a photograph about shapes. It's not about the shoreline. It's not about the beach or whatever this is. This is a beach line, or the beside of a river or something. This is the search for geometry almost, and that is something I would photograph too. The only thing I don't know about the bottom edge of it, the stream that comes in. It definitely makes that Z shape, but my eye is kind of wandering around that corner there on the bottom left. Other than that, this is really good. I like this a lot with that, the dark horizon line, and yeah, my eye definitely keeps coming back to that corner for some reason, the left corner. But yeah, good, awesome, love it. Thank you, Chris, for your determination. What about this photograph of Jim Patterson? You should. I mean, there's about 700,000 people that follow Jim, and Jim is an awesome landscape photographer. More in the classic sense of landscape photography. He's an awesome mentor. He's an awesome author. Definitely somebody you need to follow. Both on Google Plus, as on Twitter, and any other channel. And why I added this to the minimal Monday wrap up is because we've all seen. This is a brisky point, obviously, but we've all seen, the classic take on this. The big, wide open view, and then all the different colors of these mountains and all the different plains. But not so often photographers choose to photograph a detail of it, and that, in a sense, is minimalizing or simplifying a scene. You're implying an idea more than showing a vast expanse of where this is situated in the whole story. By photographing it this way, you kind of for everybody else that is viewing this, everybody else can make his or her own story up by viewing this. This is crazy. This is, oh my god, the textures in this are absolutely ridiculously beautiful. You can lose yourself in this, for a day. Amazing shadow detail too. Yeah, I mean, needless to say that I think this is awesome. Thank you, Jim, for adding this to my little theme. I really appreciate it. What about this one by Joe Azure? Reflections, often overlooked, at least by me. I have to be honest. You can find these things everywhere, right? I mean, go to your local pond or storm pond, or and you can photograph this, right? And it's just a matter of how you see the world around you, how you, if you're gonna notice these things too or not. I usually have a hard time finding details or photographing details of things because I'm more interested in the grand view of things. But when timing is right and my eye stumbles across something like that, I will try and photograph it. And this is a really good representation of what I would do too. Very simple. There's no horizon line. You just simply get the idea of a reflection of the sky in the water. Very little rippling. It's almost like a perfect, 50-50 kind of. You can even turn it around 180 degrees, and it almost looks like that would almost look like a correct photograph too. So definitely worth to try if you have some water close to you, to try this kind of photography. Beautiful, Joey. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for adding this. This is exactly what I mean. This is a photograph by Matt Dawson, and obviously this is a bigger lake, but this is exactly what I mean. I mean, with a reflection, you can imply a lot, or you can tell a little bit of a story to your viewer. There's a good square. I do think, though, I'm just trying to see if I'm right or not. Kind of want to check the horizon line, I think, or there's something. I think it's just the beach line. I think the horizon line is straight, but it's just the. Let me just do this. Oh, that's not gonna work. Just check your horizon line, Matt. I don't know. It could be straight. It could be not. It can be a little bit better. I don't know. Check it. But I think it's just my eyes because of the beach line over on top of the shoreline is higher on the left and on the right, and that gives you that idea, or it's like a trick of the eyes, right? But otherwise, this is a really, really good square, beautiful landscape photograph. Very minimal or very simple in tonalities. Yeah, good. I don't know what those red specks are in the water, but probably just some things that are floating on the water. I don't know if they add a lot of detail or interesting detail, foreground interest to the photograph, so you could kind of say like you can clone them out or not, but that is all up to you. But reflection does always work. I find them very interesting. Like for instance this one by Quincy Jefferson. Very similar idea. It's a reflection, dark horizon line, long exposure to smooth things out. Although I don't think the water needed smoothing out. But the clouds are absolutely beautiful. Interesting to see what this is. This is probably old footings of some kind of pier or something. Definitely interesting. Good square, horizon in the middle again. Yeah. Awesome. There's enough detail in the concrete blocks, um, and I like the black tree line. Very stark silhouette. Nice foreground detail. That's a good photograph, Quincy. Thank you. Like, I think the footings of this photograph by Quincy are actually something that this would go over top of it. That thing that Michael Solmila posted. So some kind of pier. What I like about this one by Michael is it's not. It's probably Michael knowing Michael a little bit. It's a little bit of a long exposure probably, but not too long. Or maybe it's not. It's probably not. But what I like about this is the contrast between the kind of the old style marina pier, whatever, and then the skyline in the back with the bridge on the left. It's like new and old, combined in one photograph. And then the toning is really good. That's what I'm used to seeing from Michael. Again, beautiful square, awesome. And then I have two more seascapes to share with you, and then something special. This is a very simple photograph by Richard Franco, long exposure seascape, of a very interesting rock, I think, shape-wise. Placed very well in the frame, on the 1/3, almost bottom right, kind of implying an interesting sky at the moment, or at that time of capturing. Good sense of light too. Good processing. This is good. Thank you, Richard. Love it. Then we have this one by Sandra Parlow. She's probably the only color photograph in this week's wrap-up. But I wanted to feature this because this is just interesting photograph, I think. Because there's 3 color layers on top of it, stacked on top of each other. It's like an awesome little hamburger of awesomeness. An awesome hamburger of awesomeness. That didn't sound right, but so you have like the green yellowish foreground rocks that are like the complementary colors of the blue in the 2/3 up. What I'm trying to say here is that color contrasts are really good. Like the green and the blue are contrasting colors, and then there's 1/3 rock, 1/3 water, 1/3 sky. It's all not a long exposure photograph, so by seeing this, I kind of sense the tranquility of that day. Just where the sea is calm, and you can smell the sea air, salty sea air. Awesome. I honestly, I would have waited until those 2 sailboats would have been out of the frame, or frame them out, or crop them out, or clone them out, or do something. Sure, it adds a sense of scale to it, but they're so minuscule that it's more of a distraction than anything else, in my opinion. I would just get rid of them, and then you have this beautiful, simple fine art piece, in my opinion, that can start a whole series. Because you can almost go back to this place over and over and over again, and photograph it through the seasons almost, or do something with it, or do something with very similar looking scenes, and do a whole series of them. That could be very interesting. What do you think? 50-50 on the sales. This is the last photograph I want to share with you guys, and this one is by Steve Max Landros, and this is a film photograph made with a Holga plastic toy camera, and I just wanted to share this with you because I believe, and once in a while when I'm teaching a class on photography, I say this too, that sharpness is vastly overrated. A lot of people are concerned about the optical qualities of their lenses, and they do tests and they read, I don't know, like a bunch of reviews about on lenses they want to buy or not buy, and so forth and so on. And a lab test is one thing, but using it in the field is something completely different. And just if you're concerned about sharpness, just go rent the lens. Go rent it, put it on your camera, and go out for a day and see what you get. Because I don't think photography needs to be tack sharp. Since probably a year, I don't apply any sharpness to my photographs anymore. The only place I do that, when I scan a negative, there's even no sharpness in that. When I scan it, I don't add sharpness to it. The only thing that I do when I resize for internet, I do use the, what's it called again? I'm just doing it right now. When I'm resizing, I'm doing the bicubic sharper which has best for reduction in between the brackets behind it, and that often is enough for sharpening a web preview. Even when I print, there's very little sharpness I add to my prints, and it's interesting to see that or it's not interesting to see, but good photography can be blurry. Look at this photograph by Steve Max. Beautifully proves this concept. Like this is a very dreamy image and a very suggestive image to me, and it tells a whole bunch of stories, and that is what is important in photography. Not you let your almost you let your soul speak, and trying to tell that story with your camera, right? That's one of the hardest lessons to learn, I think. And a lot of people get lost in what camera to use and what software to use and how to do it and like this week I got asked on was it Flickr or Facebook, I don't know, like what the settings were on a particular photograph, and I said, like, what does that have to do with it? Like, if you need the settings, I can guess. I don't know anymore because I don't have an EXIF file, but I don't see the point, honestly. But whatever people need to learn, I guess. But sharpness, it's not a big one in my book. Anyways, I'll leave you with that thought. I've been rambling for about 28 minutes now, and that's long enough. I'd like to thank everyone for posting this week. Not only the people that were featured, but also the crazy amount of people that did submit their work. I've seen all of the stuff that you guys added, and hopefully we got a great turnout next week again, and I'll see you all then, I guess. Thank you. Thanks for watching. See you next week.